Well, good evening, everyone. Hey, it is Shooter. We're going to go over swing trade notes here today. It is Tuesday, January 23rd, about 8:27 p.m. So at the end of our presentation, please review our disclosures, and let me just jump right into this. Obviously we're bullish. I don't think there's any way to explain it otherwise. All right, now the dollar was pushing a little bit, which is why I think we sort of stayed in our flat, or we sort of had that inside day kind of look today. So still in no man's land, but I think we do push up towards this 105 is sort of the look now. With that, let me jump to the SPY. Okay, we are pushing here. We got no back test. This is going to flush. The thing is, do we get 50% back at 477? Right? Or do we go back and already test the lows? Well, the count says it's going to test the lows. So we now are on deck for this. We still could push back. I mean, there's nothing that would prohibit us from pushing all the way into FOMC. So Netflix was good. Rest of the earnings, we got a big earnings week next week. So, we could push here. I mean, there's nothing that really outside. I don't even think the escalation of the war is going to hit us at this point. At this point, FOMO's significant enough in the Magnificent Seven where I think it'll hold us up. So that's sort of my thought. However, at some point, we're going to retrace, and it's going to be a pretty deep retrace. When we get looking at the NASDAQ, I think 428's on deck. So we're above that prior trend resistance line. So this is, our grouping here. Notice how we have these double groupings. So we're probably going to get a double grouping here. So we'll probably end up somewhere around 440 before we give us a back test. Now, let me go through TLT a little bit. Now, today at the close, this weekend, Friday's close, you're up here. Today's close, we're here. Remember I said that gap's going to be important? I think the count's going to flip the bearish side, and then we're going to see our 89 count still print. That's my 2 cents, right or wrong. All right, let's look at now. Now, this was something I put out January 10th, like covered call on. Cash secured put. I don't know why I say that all the time. Cash secured put, cash secured put, cash secured put. All right. Main reason is I didn't like the strikes. They were too far outside where we were. I couldn't get close enough, and I was too far away as far as calls were concerned on this one. But I do like it off of the 734 once we get this back test. So, once we get up to that 783, if you took those cash secured puts, you probably want to trim, okay? 15%, 13%, 30%, whatever it might be. Now, Tesla, we started getting a little FOMO today. Didn't get our flush on the candle, put an inside day. So we didn't really print our 2, and we definitely didn't print our 3, so we're sort of stuck here at 210. Now, if you'll notice, I have this line drawn right there. I think we get this final bleed, earnings are tomorrow. So I think we could be flat to down, I think. Now we break that 201. The bad part about this is we go 185s on deck down here, this range right down here. So conscious. However, we are going to bounce there. We get down there, we are going to bounce at the bottom of that band. We are. Okay. Now, how high it bounces, I don't know. I don't think it'll get back to the 8-day. But I think if we do get down to that low at 200, I think 220 is an easy shot. Okay, looking at PFE, we're just sort of chopping around at this 28. Now, again, this was a earnings bet, that I picked off from unusual options activity. So I'm sticking with it. I'm holding. The idea is to hold that set the different strikes into earnings. So right now I've got 4 different strikes: the February 26, 27, and 28, and then March 27.50. And that's what I've got. All right. So looking at emerging markets, now BABA just popped and put this, really nice back test to the lows. I don't know if it holds though, just because Jack May bought 50 million shares of BABA back. He buys and sells it all the time. I don't know that that's going to hold, but it's the count. I think it's a good spot for EEM. Like I mentioned on Saturday, I don't like some of the single names here because I don't think your breath. We're not in a bull market over there, and I don't think we're going to be anytime soon. So might as well just play a little bit of the numbers in an ETF that gives you good exposure, and focus on those 40 strikes, and I think you're good. Okay, looking at XLF, we're above the breakout line, heading towards that 42. Not much has changed. XLV, now we've just back tested. I think we continue to push on this as well. Now, Bitcoin is continuing to bleed. All right, so let me jump here to that. All right, this was my close Friday chart that I posted in the swing trade notes version. Now, what I'm doing with swing trade notes, only just so because usually Friday's look and Tuesday's look is different. So we're doing this. We're publishing over the weekend. So you guys in the Rare membership get a look at this stuff before the market opens. That's what I want you to see. And Tuesday, I'm updating the charts and doing this video to really update where we are for the week. I think that's a fair way to do it. And then I'm making this video public. So the folks who are members get a first look. The folks that aren't, don't. Okay, I just, I like to support folks that support us, and I want to make sure I'm giving you what you need. So my thought is this B was too shallow, total last week. Well, turns out that it was. So that to me means this is an impulse leg down, and we're down at about 30K. Now, this is our look. Sorry, my pop out didn't work. I had to readjust that. All right, so tonight, after the close, I ran this weekly count. So right now I'm getting 34,044, except for I think that's going to push a little bit lower. I think that's going to go just a little bit lower. And the reason being, let me come here and look at GBTC. On Friday, I was looking at $34 on the count. Today, I'm looking at 33. So like I've said, the ETFs tend to lead us often versus spot. Now, even though now that we know FTX is out of GBTC, that mass selling should stop. They sold $1 billion. That's my thought. So I think within a couple days, this will be fairly accurate as a tell for Bitcoin again. So, now I tagged out these entries before, which were the Fibonacci levels based on the Bollinger Band extensions, the deviations that come in there. So I'm still sticking with those numbers. I don't see any reason that'll change. I think this trend support holds, but there's a good chance it breaks down, below that. I mean, we can get down to that fourth entry at 31. So from a scaling in standpoint, it makes sense to do it that way. All right, now Ethereum, we put in an inside week, second one in a row, right? Usually indicates a directional change. So maybe we back test the 23.6 and then keep going. And Bitfarm still looks like it's based in. We've got one more candle here. I didn't even print the chart because it was an inside day. So it stayed inside that candle, didn't break below that 193 low that we got. So that's the look. I still like it to the upside. This, again, the reason I completely love this stock, and I hope they put a heck of a lot more miners out, is their cost to produce a bit. They're the low-cost producer, and they just can't help. Somebody's going to acquire them. I don't know who, and they're really not big enough to get acquired, but I would suspect that one of the bigger miners buys them, and that should be a nice pop, because if I was these guys that set up that farm, I wouldn't sell it. Maybe when Bitcoin's at $1 million, then I'd sell it, but definitely not at 30K or 35K or 40 or even 70K would I consider selling Bitfarm. So to me, it's going to sell at a huge premium if anybody does buy it. So, and that's what I have for today, folks. Great trading. Until next time.